And then I'm going to introduce you real big and we'll get started.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds great.
All right, here we go.
I like the tunes.
Hello and welcome to Morning Fuel. I am your host, John Bundy, and you are here because you believe in the power of the spoken word and its ability to change lives, and that by sharing our stories, we can help others to overcome challenges that they cannot overcome on their own. Whether it's a victory you need to win in business or in your own personal life, you understand that the answers can be found in listening to others who are willing to share their stories, knowing that their story ultimately doesn't belong to them. All right, today's guest, having a longtime friend in business, suggests to her a new career path. She started an exclusive magazine serving residents of Williamsburg and connects businesses to local residents with highly effective branding strategies. When asked what her favorite thing about her business is, she replied, meeting and connecting people in the community, business owners, residents who receive her magazine, and nonprofit leaders. Keeping productive to her means meeting as many people as possible to make them aware of her publications, since they are mailed exclusively to the neighborhoods she serves. She does a lot of networking and meeting people one-on-one, and she gets energy from great conversations. Advice she gives to others aspiring to succeed as business owners is, a successful business requires a small business owner to perform many roles, but no individual possesses all of the talents needed. Make sure you have people around you, mentors, partners, employees, who can provide the balance necessary to be successful. Please welcome to the Morning Fuel podcast family, publisher for Best Version Media, James River Living, and Life on the James magazines, Sarah Larsen. Hey,
Thanks,
Sarah,
John.
what's up?
Oh, that was a great intro. Thank you.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
The other favorite thing is getting to know people. Like you said, I mean, meeting people and making connections.
Yeah.
So how in the world, well, let me back it up even further than that. What were you doing before publishing magazines in Williamsburg? What is up?
Well, this is my third career, really. I was in the mortgage industry for a very long time, almost 20 years. And then after the big implosion of 2008,
2008, okay.
yeah, I wasn't enjoying it any longer. I had really been sad to see the company that I was with at the time go under, and they were a really good company. So that was a sad, loss. And then the business just really didn't recover. I was working for a wholesale mortgage company at that point. So I was a sales rep who met with mortgage brokers, and the whole landscape changed. So it was really not as fun. And
Sure.
so
was this local as well? Have you always been in this area?
Yes, that was local. I'm originally from Michigan, so some of that was in Michigan, but that portion of my life in the mortgage industry was here in Virginia.
Okay.
And so after that, I spent a few years hovering around the industry and just not really enjoying it anymore. And I met my husband, who had just started a business, and I said, it looks like you guys need some help on the operations side.
Okay.
We were manufacturing tactical gear, and that was what they were doing, was the sales and the production, and they really needed somebody on the inside. And
Sure.
So I said, hey, I'll do that instead.
Tactical gear, where that's a
It's
probably fun story in itself, but that's like
yes, a lot of fun, but
like real estate and then tactical gear.
totally different. And I had
Wow.
no experience in tactical gear
So
prior
how
to that
long
point.
did you do that?
About 8 years.
Okay.
And then we left that business, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up again. And that's when my friend came in and said, hey, I think you might enjoy this.
Okay, so when did that conversation take place?
Summer of 2019, that conversation took place. And I took a couple months to check it out and see what other magazines were around in Williamsburg and in the area. Best Version Media is a national company, so
Okay.
they publish magazines in the U.S. and Canada. And We have over 1,100 magazines at this point. The number
Wow.
keeps growing, so it's expanding. And I was the first to bring one to kind of the peninsula area of Virginia. But we have over 50 magazines in the state.
Okay, so did you start there in Williamsburg? I mean, and
I
then
did.
how long have you been doing that again?
Just 2.5 years, really.
Okay.
I
You said summer of 2019.
Summer of
Okay, when you
2019.
said that, I was thinking, wow, and then 2020.
Pandemic.
Right.
Yeah, so I started working on the magazine the fall of 2019, and it takes time to get the sponsorships, the business advertisers that you need to cover the cost of publishing. So I was working on that, and the pandemic hit, and I
Right.
was nearly there. And suddenly, of course, nobody wants chalk marketing when everything's shut down. So it
and
took a little bit longer.
we saw a lot of local businesses disappear.
Yeah,
So you were firsthand seeing that happen.
right. And I feel like, not having gone to print prior to the shutdown was beneficial to me, honestly, in the long run, because I knew publishers who launched that month or just before. And of course, their sponsors immediately, some of them just, everybody panicked. What do? We don't know where our business is going to go. We can't afford advertising. And I was fortunate that I hadn't gotten to that point, and I didn't have to work through that. And Best Version Media was really good to our publishers and to our sponsors by just working with them as much as possible so that they could continue to advertise through the shutdown.
Right.
And stay relevant and stay present so that everybody knew they were still in business.
Right. 2019, fall of 2019, I started a business in Williamsburg as well.
Yeah.
I started a collaborative work environment. And due to differences between me and the landlord, it didn't really get off the ground. But COVID, I know, would have shut us down. So it was really a
Right.
God thing, I really believe.
Yeah.
That we didn't, because we were about ready to invest like $30,000 more into
my
it and
gosh.
all that stuff. So
Yeah,
so
that worked
so
out.
you didn't go to print before,
Yeah.
but I suppose during that time
We-
before you went to print, you're getting everything straight.
Yeah. To be honest, it freaked me out too, because I went, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And nobody wants to talk to me anymore,
Right.
for a few months. And then finally, as we got later into the spring, and we realized, hey, this is going to be longer than the 2 weeks or, whatever that we had been looking at. People wanted to get back to business and save their businesses if they could. So I got the final couple of sponsors that I needed to go to print, and we launched our first issue in August.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So James River Living has been in print now almost 2 years.
And you've got two.
And I have 2 magazines. So the next year, I launched a magazine, Life on the James, and that one
Very
goes
cool.
exclusively to Kingsmill.
Very cool. So real estate, tactical gear, magazines.
Mm-hmm.
What is biggest lesson you've learned since you started doing the magazine?
Oh,
Or lessons?
lessons. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, really, I never realized I could grow my network so quickly over such a short period of time, really. I've really expanded and met so many people. And now I was just talking to somebody today who we discovered we had several people in common. And as I show the magazine to potential sponsors, they often are, oh, I know that person. I know that person. And sometimes it's the residents and sometimes it's the other businesses that are
Right.
in the magazine. So it's been really a cool experience to meet so many people and discover how small the world is compared
Sure.
to what I anticipated when I started.
Right. When did you get involved with the York County Chamber?
About a year ago, I
Okay.
joined. Tony Chavis, who was president at the time, had been,
Great lady.
yeah, I had met her the year before through multiple people. I mean, again, small world. I kept bumping into her, and it kind of felt like a sign. And I have businesses that I work with that are in York County, and one of my magazines kind of butts up against the York County area of Williamsburg. So I thought, well, this makes sense. And we're always looking to expand and add additional magazines. not necessarily with me as the publisher, but looking for other people who might want to do what I do and bring these community magazines to other areas. So that was part of the goal of joining the York County Chamber, and she convinced me that I needed to be part of it.
Right.
So I joined, and I immediately volunteered for the marketing committee. And
Gotcha. Use your gifts, right?
And yeah, I figured, well, that's kind of in my wheelhouse now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that a couple of years ago.
Right. Isn't it amazing when something enters into your wheelhouse? It's when you know a bit more than everybody else, and then it's
and then suddenly it's my wheelhouse.
Yeah. I'm the computer guy because I do stuff on the internet and I don't know anything.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. That's very, very cool. York County Chamber has been sort of, I mean, it feels like family when you first enter into it.
Mm-hmm.
You can really see people genuinely care for each other and are looking out for each other.
Yeah.
I noticed that, from day one, and then the connections you quickly make.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, all of a sudden your borders have expanded.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, what's your favorite thing about the magazine itself? I know you talked about the networking and all that,
Yeah.
but the publications themselves. What has been your kind of you think about it, makes you smile? Because I mean, honestly, I see
Yeah.
you love what you do. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
So what about the magazine is special?
Well, not to sound repetitive, but I really love meeting the community. I don't live in either one of the footprints that the magazines go to, and it's been a great opportunity to meet people who live there because the content for the magazine comes primarily from the residents. So we feature a family on the cover every month, so I'm always meeting the families that
Right.
live there and then tell their story. But the residents can contribute photos of their pets and their families and vacations, or, we celebrate milestones. We've got graduations coming up. So I'm constantly reaching out, and through these connections that I've made, finding more people to contact and say, hey, would you like to contribute something? And so I'm getting to know them too. And that's been really fun.
Nice. Now you shared with me with one of the copies that you gave me that the couple that was on the cover, I guess in the interview you wound up learning so much more about them that you never knew.
Yeah.
And you knew the couple, but then
Right. I knew the couple beforehand, and that's been really fun because even when I know somebody, and a lot of times I don't, the families that we're featuring this month, I've never met them. And so often I don't meet them until the photo session, or sometimes I don't meet them until I deliver the magazines to them. I like to do that before they hit mailboxes so that they are the first ones to see it.
Sure.
And we make it a surprise. They've not seen any of the photos prior to that point. So
you don't do a proof with the.
no,
That would
we don't let the family pick the cover.
They got to sign something before they do an
Yeah.
interview or get photos
Yeah.
taken. That's good.
So Brandy Santalanza is my content coordinator, and she gathers content, but also does the interviews of the families. And so she'll interview them, and oftentimes then she's the first person to talk to them after they've committed to doing it. And I read the articles and learn all about them once I see her article. But the funny ones are when I've known the people ahead of time, and then I read the article and it's all stuff I didn't even know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm
super
always
cool.
discovering new stuff.
Talk with me about memory keeping and how that idea connects with the publications.
Yeah. During the time between leaving the tactical world and becoming a publisher, I was playing around, like I said, trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I was dabbling in a bunch of different things. So I came across there's a whole rabbit hole out there
Okay.
of
Well, we could go
on
down for a
YouTube.
little
And
while.
I love it. I discovered it, and suddenly I was just hooked on YouTube and watching all these videos of people doing what they call decorative planning, which is just stickers and pretty decorative tape, washi tape, all these things. And that was just to inspire you to actually do the things that you plan to do, right? And from there, I kind of got into what we would call in the old days scrapbooking, and some we still refer to that way, but memory keeping can be It can be on paper, it can be on digital, it can be
Sure.
a combination of the two.
We're doing a bit of memory keeping here, aren't we?
Exactly. So there's lots of different ways to memory keep, and it's really ultimately storytelling. And that's what I do in the magazine, is tell the stories of the people who live in these communities so that they can get to know each other better.
Right. Well, that's
So-
really, really super cool.
Yeah.
Do you have maybe a transformative story, or maybe just one memorable article that was written that maybe kind of changed the life of the person it was written about, or touched a great number of folks out in the community?
Well, I don't know that I would say I have one specific transformative
Right.
article. We've met so many different people, and I think each one of them, kind of has a different experience with it.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of becomes the celebrity of the neighborhood for the month. They get calls from their friends and neighbors to say, "Hey, oh my gosh, you're on the
Right.
cover. Isn't that great?" Yeah, I think just we've got a lot of, we really try to connect people through the magazine with introducing nonprofits. Like I mentioned, I get to meet with a lot of nonprofit leaders and getting to know those and sharing. I've learned a lot about different nonprofits. One recently, and it's not so much about the articles, but the connections that are made through meeting with these people. So, for instance, I recently met a woman who runs a nonprofit that works with veterans, either transitioning into civilian life or with, they do mental and medical care, but also train people to work with our military and veterans. And so through her, she was one of the nonprofits that we shared recently. So the Veterans Pathways Home at the Warrior Way Wellness Center in Williamsburg. And last week we were talking, and she said, "Oh, by the way, we're where we need to get the word out. I'm looking for a foster family to take a 8-year-old male husky for a military person who's deployed and needs someone to care for his pet." And that's just that one was near to my heart because I have a husky who
Okay.
is a 8-year-old female. And we know that, she's pretty chill, and we have wanted to get a second dog, but not necessarily commit. So
Right.
I said, "Oh my gosh, you just mentioned it to the right person because we're going to do that." And so we just added that.
Okay, so you're fostering.
We're fostering
Oh, wow. Okay.
him as of Saturday.
Well,
So
that's a neat one.
just a few
this
days.
just happened.
Yes. And so,
you really don't know
that
how
one's
you
really
feel
fresh
about
in my
that
mind.
yet.
Well, it takes a little time to get used to a new
Sure.
pet, and for them to get used to a new routine, because I think his dad probably was more of an early riser, or for in his role in the military, he's probably getting up early. I noticed that he started waking us up pretty early. I think we might be easing him into a later.
Right. What
later
are your huskies'
morning hours.
names?
So our husky is named Kimber, and
Good name.
we adopted her. She was just over a year old.
Named
when we got
after a
her.
gun manufacturer.
Yes, she is. My husband, as you can tell with our tactical background, is a firearms enthusiast, and that was the thing he said: when we get a dog, it's going to be named Kimber.
It's a good name.
And she's great, and it's a great name. And then the dog that we're fostering is named Maverick.
That's perfect.
It's perfect. He's a big, very lovable
Okay.
guy, easygoing. And you'd have to be transitioned
Sure.
often, to have somebody be on deployment. And he has gone through several homes during the deployment and then goes back to his owner. So
Gotcha.
we feel very privileged to be doing that. And, so it's just little things like that. I think there's not anything specifically big and transformative that we've seen,
Sure.
but it's just little things.
Those are
that we
great.
find.
Those are great little stories there.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's next? What's next for Sarah Larsen and the enterprise? Is it another magazine or
Not for me. I've decided that 2 is plenty.
okay. Do you
it's
have other folks lined up that you've met that are chomping at the bit?
I'm
to
working
get
on
others
some
started?
people.
Okay.
I'm working on some
gotcha.
people. We've launched a New Kent magazine, and a Gloucester magazine
Okay.
since I started my Williamsburg magazine. So we've grown a little bit. We're still looking for some folks on the peninsula to
Gotcha.
hit some of the markets there. I think that would be exciting. The
Yeah.
more people who know about the magazines that we do and are familiar with them, the better.
They're great looking magazines.
Thank
The
you.
photography is amazing.
Yeah.
They're well put together. It doesn't feel like, it just top notch, first class.
Well, thank you.
So it's good stuff. So
I can't really take credit for that part of it,
Well,
but I appreciate that feedback, and I think they look really great.
They do. So before I ask my last question,
Yeah.
Where can folks contact you, get in touch with you on social media or website, email address?
So, Best Version Media has their own site. So, individual publishers, we don't have websites for our publications. It's a private magazine, so it's not available online anywhere. It's exclusive to those residents, so and some of the businesses that I meet and people that I meet along the way. But to find me on social media through the magazines, they are James River Living BVM, and we're on Facebook and Instagram, and Life on the James BVM, also Facebook
Okay.
and Instagram. So they can find me there,
Cool.
or
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll add that to the show notes.
great.
So last question. What does Sarah Larsen, the business owner, what do you need most right now?
Oh, I'm always looking for businesses that want to be big fish in a small sea. That's kind of what our magazines are designed for, connecting those people to our market. I'm also always looking for content, meeting people in the community, just connecting with people. And a lot of times that's not even to advertise or to be in the magazine. I love just meeting people.
Right.
Because we always find, ways to connect. And then just the local nonprofits. I really always looking for new ones to learn about and share with my readers.
Right.
So I think those are the big ones.
Okay. Well, cool. Sarah
Yeah.
Larsen, very, very nice to meet you and get to know
Thank you,
you.
John.
And look forward to more in the future.
Yeah, thank you. I've
All right.
appreciated it.
You're very
Thanks
welcome.
for having me.
You're welcome.